This is a story about a moody teenager
Her stubborn dad.
and their quest to take 10,000 photographs of the river they love.
Kinda love.
What?
I think you love it more than me.
Well, it'll grow on you. Anyways, there is a reason behind this particular voyage. My daughter had been on the Harpeth River a dozen times or more during day trips through our town of Franklin, Tennessee, but she had never done an extended paddling trip, and I decided shortly after her 13th birthday that she was old enough for a multi-day outdoor adventure, a rite of passage into her teenage years. Her grandmother, my mother, is in her 70s. She doesn't trust her own balance well enough to climb into a canoe, but I wanted her to see the Harpeth and not just see it in still, disjointed photographs, but through a series of interactive images that would allow her to experience this part of her world that is both wild and beautiful and that, until now, remained hidden to her. First, though, we need to go back almost 200 years. In the middle of the 19th century, an American artist named John Banvard painted a river scene that would change the way people experience landscape art. Only it wasn't a single scene. It was a continual image, a panorama of the entire lower half of the Mississippi River. It was the largest painting in the world. His artwork was advertised as being 3 miles long. The canvas was wound around 2 upright spools like a giant scroll. It hung edgewise from a rope on a series of pulleys and took 2 hours to unroll across the stage. Audiences loved it. They packed theaters along the East Coast before Banvard carried the panorama to England, where he gave a command performance for Queen Victoria. People have always wanted to experience distant places. All of us have an inborn curiosity about the lay of different lands, even if we're unable to physically go there. Banvard's Mississippi panorama has unfortunately been lost to history, but we have a similarly immersive way to see the world today. Who among us hasn't spent time on Google Earth, flying at 20,000 feet over the Amazon River Delta, or driving around Paris using Google Street View? We can explore the entire planet from our computer screen. Google Maps is probably the largest collaborative photography project in the world, and it's an open platform, meaning anyone can add to it. That impulse to see, to document, to share was the catalyst for our Harpeth 360 project. So you were pretty excited about the adventure, right, Piper?
Yeah, I was really hyped.
The central piece of equipment was a special camera. The Insta360 Pro has 6 fisheye lenses capable of capturing the entire scene 360 degrees at a time. The plan had been to set it on a 10-second time lapse and simply paddle. There was a problem, though. Unlike a car, a canoe is not equipped with a battery-powered electrical system, and the camera's internal batteries only have about a 30 to 45-minute life. How then were we going to document the river for up to 10 hours a day, day after day, for a week straight? Fortunately, I have friends far smarter than me, and when I put out a call for solutions on social media, Chucky B answered. He's the kind of guy who tinkers with old Jeeps and does not shy away from rewiring his own house. He's not an electrician, just a school teacher with a knack for finding a way to make things work. Chucky B wrote out a shopping list for me. A solar panel, a power inverter, an adapter, and a 12-volt marine battery. As a carpenter, the one thing I did understand is how I could build something that would let all the components be held in place securely. Using $20 worth of plywood and screws, I built what I dubbed the power station. It would be secured to the gunnels of our canoe with small C-clamps. And with that, we were ready to set off. The Harpeth River is a 115-mile tributary of the Cumberland River. It flows through Middle Tennessee just south and west of Nashville. On it, we were met with minor inconveniences, downed trees that required us to disassemble the recording rig, and rain, which the camera is allergic to. During the downpours, we had to cover the camera with our dry bag. But we also saw an incredible array of critters: turtles, large and small, cows that had wandered down from nearby pastures. We even saw a gargantuan river otter. Well, a volunteer from the Harpeth River Conservancy dressed in costume. We paddled past history, Native American mounds and Civil War sites. One spot in particular struck me. At the narrows of the Harpeth, the river takes a wide 5.5-mile loop, only to return to a spot a few hundred feet away. In 1819, a Pennsylvania iron magnate had the tunnel dug in order to power a forge. Today, the foundry is gone, but the tunnel remains. A sign warns paddlers to keep out, so I did what any cautious, loving father would do. I told Piper to go inside and pose for a picture so we could spook her mother. We did have some technical difficulties, which required calls to the customer service department at the camera rental shop. Piper found my ineptitude hilarious and captured her own photos every time I struggled with the equipment. But we prevailed, and 7 days later we paddled into the wide Cumberland and celebrated our little voyage. Currently, I'm working to get all the files uploaded to Google Maps, but here's a taste. Here you can see Nashville, and the Harpeth River begins just north and east of Eagleville. We opted to put in at the bridge on Shoemaker Road because that's about as far up as we could get our canoe. So drop a pin, click on the thumbnail, and here's the Harpeth River in 360 degrees. This is looking downriver and then up into the canopy. The adjacent fields, and upriver towards the bridge. Here's our solar panel and the dry bag that we kept all the equipment in, and there's Piper. I am proud of the work we did together, capturing 10,000 time-lapse photographs that will, in time, allow my mother, in fact everybody, to virtually visit this treasured river. More importantly, I was able to spend a quiet week in a 14-foot canoe with my 13-year-old daughter, and hopefully instill in her a sense of awe and wonder at this, our shared inheritance. I hope she came away with an immutable belief in her own strength and doggedness to see a thing through even when it's hard. I hope she knows her old man pushed her not out of punishment, only love. And she might not recognize any of that right now, but one day she will. And the proof of her experience will be there on the screen, in full view of the whole world. All right, thank you for watching In Full View. This is Piper. I'm Trapper. A few things that I neglected to mention. One is that we did not camp out. We just had too much recording equipment to try and download all the pictures every night on a sandbar. So the Harpeth River has ample canoe launches and pickup sites, so we just came back home every evening. Thanks to my wife and my mother, we got a ride back home every night, which I think Piper was thankful for. The river doesn't have any portages. It's a free-flowing river, so 115 miles of just open, beautiful river carving its way through Middle Tennessee. The software that we use to compile the pictures and stitch them into a seamless image is called Insta360 Stitcher. And so we just dump the photos in there. It stitches all the photos together into a seamless 360, and then we upload them through Google Maps. But we thought it would be fun, since there's no Q&A at the symposium. We thought it would be fun to ask each other some questions. So we have each prepared 3 questions for one another. Yep. So I'll ask one, and then you ask one. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Question 1. What was your favorite animal that we saw?
I would say probably the turtles, just because they were cute. And then we saw some cool fish, but my favorite one was the turtles.
The turtles?
Yeah.
Especially that little small.
Yeah, the one we picked up.
Yeah. Okay.
What was your favorite thing we saw, or landscape?
My favorite landscape. I really love the bluffs as you get down to the end of the Harpeth River. It really carves its way through these 200-foot high bluffs that overlook the river, and the way the sun hit the limestone, I guess, it's just absolutely beautiful. I think that was my favorite part. How did you feel on day 1, and how did you feel on day 7?
On day 1, I thought we were gonna I thought it was gonna be we're gonna camp out, and this will be 4 days, and I just didn't really know what to expect. And then on the last day, it had ended up being 2 or 3 extra days because the camera wasn't working. So I was tired by the end, but I was glad that I'd accomplished it all, so it was worth it.
Tired but satisfied.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which of the days was your favorite one?
I think my favorite day might have been the day we came through Franklin, which is the town that we were living in, just because all the familiar landmarks, every bridge that we went under, I knew I had driven over that bridge 1,000 times, so it was cool to see another perspective of our town from the river. So I think my favorite day was the day we came through Franklin. Yeah. You'll like this question.
Okay.
What river should we do next?
You want to do the Duck River, which is the one in Spring Hill where we live, but I don't really want to do it again. Well, I'm glad I did it, and I think that experience was a good experience, so I'm just going to keep with me.
Okay. It sounds like there's a Mark Twain quote, something about I'm glad I did it, chiefly because I'll never have to do it again.
Yeah.
Is that how you feel? Okay.
My last question for you is why did I have to do this?
Why did you have to do it?
Yeah.
I saw it as an opportunity for you to learn empowerment. Mm-hmm. I think that difficult things are important to do in our lives because they teach us lessons far beyond how to paddle a canoe, far beyond how hot and sweaty it can get out there. You learn things about yourself that you don't learn unless you push yourself beyond a threshold of comfort. And so I guess the short answer is I think it's going to matter to you when you look back on it.
That sounds pretty.
So, I love you.
I love you too.
Thanks for watching, y'all.
Yeah.